Yo, 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 what's good people? I am Travell C.W. Lynch, Mr. What, and your self-worth specialist. I want to welcome you guys into another episode, another experience of the I Am the Possible podcast experience. Yes, this is the place where possibilities become perspective. Listen, guys, I am so freaking fired up this week. You have no idea, or maybe you do, I don't know, but you have no idea of the challenges I have faced this morning preparing for this episode, preparing for this experience. Listen, to all of my church folk out there, you know how we say the devil is a liar. Okay, number one, the devil is a liar. Number two, you know how we do, church folk. We think when we bump up against these types of challenges, when we have a word to deliver, a message to deliver, a word that we believe God has given us, man, we just believe that this is par for the course. And so this morning, I'm about 30 minutes behind in my preparation and getting ready to record this episode. And so even in that, I just want to share with you guys, even before we get into today's message, even in my struggle with just getting prepared and getting this set up this morning, I want to encourage you, even in that, don't let nothing stop you. Guys, this entire platform, this entire ministry, it is all about perspective. It is all about the way you see things, the way you think about things, most importantly, yourself, right? But even our challenges, guys, even our challenges, we've got to see our challenges as working for our good. And that is possible. It's possible, right? With the power of perspective, you can choose to see your struggles as another step in your success. So I just want to encourage you right out the gate, all right? See your struggles as just another step in your success. It's a part of it. It's like gumbo, right? You got different ingredients, man, and the different ingredients in the gumbo pull out different flavors or add different flavors. You may like a certain, you may like shrimp. You may like the sausage, you know what I'm saying? But there are all types of ingredients that the person that made the gumbo, they threw in there that you might not even be aware of, but they're in there on purpose to draw out the flavor, to make that thing come together and to make that gumbo complete. So look at your success as a pot of gumbo, baby. And just know that even our struggles and challenges, even in that, it is a part of your success. So be encouraged in that. Don't let it mean give up. Don't let the struggle mean give up. Don't let the struggle mean give up. Don't let it equate to give in, cave in, back up, come up off of your beliefs. Stop believing in God. Stop believing in yourself. Stop believing in the goodness and the good-heartedness of humanity. People are good. They really, really are. And it's just us, man, taking a step back and saying this challenge, this struggle, this situation, it doesn't have to define me. And my knee-jerk reaction, my knee-jerk response to the struggle, that doesn't have to be truth. That doesn't have to be gospel. You feel me? That can be a temporary emotion, and we can literally train ourselves to back up off of those quick knee-jerk reaction emotions and really pause for the cause, take some deep breaths, do some woosah, right? Do some woosahs and ground ourselves, man, and really understand that we get to choose. We get to choose what this thing means and what this thing will be for us. So again, guys, that's just like, listen, we just in the first 5 minutes. I'm just revved up because I just believe that the stuff I just had to deal with all my preparation and getting ready. And I did all this preparation last night. I set everything up. I got the lights, camera, action, and all these challenges. Really? Like, okay, all right, I'm ready for this, right? So let's jump into this, guys. This is a this is a word that I believe God has called me to share with you. Guys, you know that the I Am the Possible podcast experience, I am a man of God, a man of faith. This is a faith-based platform, not in that it excludes you if you are not Christian or you don't believe in God. I don't play those games. What I'm saying is that in my personal life, in my personal experience, and that's really all that I can really share with you is my experience. Let's keep it 100. That's what that's all anybody can do. Ain't no gurus, ain't no know-it-alls out there. Everyone is pulling from their own experiences. How they package it, how they deliver it, that may be unique to them. But at the end of the day, guys, all we can really talk about with conviction are things that we've experienced, done, implemented, acted out on, and they worked for us. Okay? And so I'm a man of faith. I believe in God. I pray. And so the content that I deliver, it is faith-based, meaning it is rooted in a idea that there is a creator and that you were created for a purpose, with a purpose, that you are created and connected with a loving God who loves you, who's in relationship with you, whether you know it or not, whether you feel it or not, whether you think it or not, okay? And that your life literally is a contribution to the betterment of society. And so everything that I present, it is always for the purpose of awareness and perspective building and fine tuning around your value and around just the value of having a idea of a creator in your life, okay? And so one of the ways that I do that is by modeling, okay? I have to embody, that's my conviction. I have to embody that which I educate. I don't want to get on this thing and share with you anything that I'm not doing. I refuse to do that. I'm not going to read a book real quick and then just, come at you with 5 steps to success because they said it. I'm not going to watch a YouTube video and just get all hyped up off of somebody else's content and then just regurgitate it. Everything that I'm going to share with you, I love you too much. I respect you too much to play those games. So everything that I share with you, I want you to know and to understand that it is shared with love, respect, honor, and it is coming from the depth of my soul. It is coming from my own personal experience, my own personal doing, living, breathing, feeling, thinking. Okay? So today, this message is not derailing my series on change, right? Last week, if you listened to last week's episode, it was based on this idea that you have the power to choose and the power to change, and that was part 1. I'm going to continue that series. But today, as a man of faith, as a man of God, the reason I share all of that is because I believe that God prompted me and has moved me and has encouraged me to share a special message with you today. It's still tied into the overall concept of you having the power to change and you having the power to choose, but it really could stand on its own, okay? And I want to share with you, with my watchers, those of you who are on YouTube, if you haven't gone to I Am the Possible podcast on the YouTube channel, there is a link in my show notes here on the podcast, as well as a link on my website, iamthepossible.com. But you can also go to YouTube and type in the I Am the Possible podcast. Okay, I Am the Possible podcast there on YouTube if you want a visual. All right. And again, for some reason, if it doesn't pop up, because I just started this new channel, so if it doesn't pop up on YouTube, if you go searching for it, then please go to my website, scroll down a little bit till you come to the broadcast link there on the homepage of the website. And you can click that link and it'll shoot you over here to the new I Am the Possible podcast experience YouTube channel. I would love for you guys to subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell somebody, your coworkers, anyone who needs a word of encouragement around who they are, what they are, and what they are able to do. If they need some possibility priming in their lives, then this is the place that they need to be. But if you're watching, I want to share my screen here real quick. The one change that changes everything. That's today's message. That's today's episode. That's today's experience. The one change that changes everything. And I just believe that someone needs to know what this one change is. It's called environment. It's called environment. Someone out there today needs to know that what you're experiencing is not necessarily truth, is not necessarily the end of it for you. This is not the end of the road for you. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to stay feeling the way you feel. You don't have to stay thinking the way you think. You don't have to stay in your current reality. I want you to know that when you change your environment, everything else changes. Everything else changes. Now, on the screen here, by definition, an environment is this: the circumstances, the objects, or the conditions by which one is surrounded. An environment, it is a place, whether it's a physical place, whether it's a mental place. It's just a place that, like I taught last week, it contains these elements. By definition, these circumstances, these objects, and these conditions, and you're surrounded by it, meaning it encompasses you, if that's the right word. Encompass, encompass, okay? My point is that it's all around you. It's all consuming. Sometimes it's suffocating. Sometimes it's overwhelming, right? Your environment really influences and really impacts not only what you see on a consistent basis, but because of that, it really dictates and it really sometimes really determines just your overall outlook and perspective in life. And someone out here needs to know that you are one environment change away from a completely changed life. I'll say that again. You are one environment change away from a completely changed life. Your environment. I'm speaking to someone specific today, okay? We're taking a little different route. I'm speaking to whoever's listening, obviously. But I believe that there are some people out there that literally need this word. You are on the edge of the edge, as we say. There is something in your life where you feel like, man, I feel like giving up. I feel like throwing in this towel. I feel like, forgetting the faith. I feel like forgetting about God. I feel like forgetting about my marriage. I feel like forgetting about this relationship. I feel like something very negative. And I don't know who you are, and I'm not saying that I'm some savior, but what I am saying is that if you change your environment, you change what you see. And if you change what you see, eventually you'll change what you think. And if you change what you think, and you'll change what you are saying, you'll change what you're doing. And that combination, that three-pronged combination, right? That's a powerful combination. The Bible talks about a cord of three strands being very difficult to break. It also reminds me of a power strip, right? You know how like your general power cord has those two prongs that go into the socket? Well, when you really want to carry some power, when you really want to carry some punch, when you really want to carry some bang, when you got to like plug up one of those strips with multiple, sockets in it, and maybe you're plugging up like a generator or something powerful where it's going to require a lot of juice to bring some real power, to really power something to really go hard. You got to get that three-pronged cord. It provides additional juice. It provides additional power. And I want you to know that when you change your environment, guys, you're going to change what you see, which influences what you say, which influences what you think. It will change what you're thinking, what you're doing, and what you're saying. Okay, let me get that real clear. Let me kind of back up a little bit. What you're thinking, what you're saying, and what you're doing starts with what you're seeing, and what you're seeing starts with your environment. Oh my God, I pray that makes sense, guys. I pray that makes sense. Let's take it a step further. Let me break this down for y'all, man. Let me break this down for y'all, okay? I want to share with you guys a story. For those of you who are watching on the screen, it says 5 words changed my life. When I first started doing, YouTube videos and Facebook posts and, IG lives and all this other stuff, I did a series called the 5 words. 5 words can change your life. That's what I was calling it. 5 words can change your life. And what I was doing was I was using the 5 words that literally changed my life, right? 20 years ago, when my wife and I relocated to Southern California from Toledo, Ohio, and we were already beginning in the ministry, young in the ministry, but when I came here, I was given the opportunity to share like a 15-minute message on the life of Jesus, just a 15-minute message. And when I was done, this was my first time teaching. I, didn't go to seminary, didn't go to Bible, study school or anything like that. Didn't have any background, didn't have any educational background, didn't have anything that said that I knew what I was doing. But I was given the opportunity to share a 5-minute message on the life of Jesus. And so I shared out of Mark 1:35, one of my favorite passages, if not my favorite passage. So I shared from the heart what I saw in it, what I got from it, what I believe God had put in my heart concerning this passage. And when I was done, a pastor by the name of Pastor Eric Brown, I dedicated my new book, What Is Enough, to him, actually. But Pastor Eric Brown walks up to me when I'm done, and he says, he puts a hand on my shoulder. He looks me in the eye, man, and I promise you, I've told this story a million times, and it never gets old. If there was any moment in my life where I felt like I was looking into the face of God, like the face of Jesus, obviously Eric looked like Eric. Okay, I'm not saying Eric looked like Jesus. I'm not saying Jesus came down and, took over Eric's body. What I'm saying is that there was such a love, there was such a innocence, such a purity, such a power about what Eric said and the way that he said it. But he said, Travail, you are a teacher. That's 5 words, man. That's all he said. Travail, you are a teacher. 5 words changed my life. Now, I'm not going to go heavy on breaking that all down. I'm going to save breaking that all down for other episodes, other experiences, because I want to do more deep diving and really getting back to the what, right? Really getting back to what you are, because again, that's the fundamental, that's the baseline philosophy of iAMthepossible. It's about what you are. I am, current tense, the possible, future tense. I am that which I am becoming. Let me back up. See, I ain't gonna even go down that path, because every time I start talking about it, I get excited. Okay, but more on that to come. Here's the point. I'm gonna stay in the pocket on this. Here's the point. When Eric said that, he gave me a sense of identity. He gave me a sense of value. He gave me a sense of placement in this world. He gave me a sense of my position in this world. He gave me a sense of who I was and why I was. And he gave me a sense of something that I could contribute to this world, to this society, right? I had a gift from God. I had a endowment from God. I had something that I could do for God and through God and for God's people. There was something that I could serve other people with that would actually, change their lives and make their lives better. I had never really had that concept. I knew God loved me, and I knew about God. I was a young Christian and, kind of just getting started. So I knew a little bit about a little bit, but I mean, that was like, whoa. And it put me on a 20-year journey that led me to this very episode. I've been teaching ever since, preaching ever since. right? Maybe not at the level that I want to, right? There are still some dreams and some goals that I have for my life and for my ministry. But what I'm telling you is that I've been used to teach for the last 20 years in so many um, environments, so many on so many occasions, and it is a pure joy. I love doing nothing more than teaching and educating. Why do I share that story, guys? Why do I share that story? Because it was those 5 words that changed my life. Why? Because they changed my perspective of me. They changed my life because they changed my perspective, right? Excuse me. They changed my life because they changed my perspective. What is perspective? It's the way that you see a thing. It's the way that you see a thing. It's the way that you see a thing. It's what you look at. Okay. Now, for those of you who are watching, this is not a full, or I'm sorry, this is not a half cup, right? This is just a little sparklet water, right? And I haven't drunk enough of it, right, to kind of be like halfway, but you still get the concept, right? The age-old question, right? Is the glass half empty? Is the glass half full? 10 people say it's empty. 10 people say that it's full. Who's right? Who's wrong? Everyone's right because it's your perspective. See, your perspective is your reality. I'll say that again. Everyone's right. If you said this is half empty, you're right. If you said that it's half full, you're right. You are correct. Why? Because it's your perspective. It's your reality. I don't get to choose that for you. I don't get to dictate that for you. God doesn't even get to choose that for you. He gave us free will, free power, free dominion to choose. Our power of choice is a gift from God, and He's not taking it back. So you get to choose what you think about that, bottle of water. Here's the thing though. You also get to choose what you think about you. And depending on what you think about you, you're going to go about this thing called life in whatever way that is conducive, that is in alignment with the way you think about you. If you think you're awesome, you're great, you're valuable, you're going to do things that align. If you think you are trash, a throwaway, ain't worth nothing, then you're going to do things that align with that reality and that perspective as well. So I really want you guys to understand that what you think of you determines what you do. And someone out there today needs to really understand it and really needs to know that what you're doing is not permanent. It can be changed. How? By changing the way you think about you, by changing the way you view and see you. But where does that change, guys? I'm tying it all back into to the word that we started with, environment. See, you notice when I told that story, I said that we had just relocated. Right? Right. Shout out to all of my Coming to America fans, right? Remember that? Right? It was when I changed environments. It's not that somebody from Toledo couldn't have told me that. All I know is, and all I can deal with is what happened. I can't deal with the what ifs. I can't deal with the should have been, could have been, would have been. All I can deal with is I know I changed environments and I was exposed to different elements. I was given different opportunities and I was exposed to different people, right? Remember your environment, right? That's your objects, conditions, surroundings, right? So I was in a different place with different people that had different giftings, that was on a different level, that was able to say something that I had never heard before. It began with a change of my environment. Now, if you want to peel this thing all the way back, let me do that really quick in like 1 minute. If you want to really peel it all back, okay, think about this. Think about the fact that I was even in church, right? Think about the fact that I was even in church, guys. All right, so let me go to my next slide. Really quick. Environment influences perspective. So we've already kind of covered that. So let me get to the other slide as I explain this next step. Before and after. If you want me to really take this thing all the way back, think about this. Not only did I go from Toledo to California, a changing of the environment. Think about this. I went from in the streets to in the church. Again, somebody in the streets a may have eventually said to me, Travell, you are a teacher. Possibly, right? I don't know. But here's what I do know. I was in the streets for 20 years, and it got me to a point where I was sitting in the backseat of a car at the age of 20, two guns pointed at my head, man. I had just bought an ounce of weed for $120. An ounce of weed for $120. I'm sitting in the backseat of the car. I was set up for a robbery. One cat ran up, put the gun. Okay, let me take a step back. We're driving through an alley. The driver pulls up, hits it in park, jumps out the car, and runs between some houses, right? So I was set up. One guy comes in, he puts a gun through the back window, puts it to the side of my head, literally puts it to the side of my head. So I've got a gun pressed to the side of my head. Another cat is in the front window with the gun pointed at my face. They asked me, well, they didn't really ask me. This is hood, right? So they were saying some other things, but I'm gonna keep it clean. I'm gonna keep it G-rated this morning. But they were after a bag of weed that was $120, right? $120. And if you're hearing any background noise, don't even trip. Again, remember, I'm about 30 minutes behind today. So that's my beautiful wife just passing by. So you may have heard some footsteps. Never mind that. Just keep it pushing, all right? So we all good, man. Hey, that's life, right? We cannot predict, can't control everything, man. So we got to just keep rolling with the punches. So, all right, cool. So back to the program, back to the story. So I got these guns, man, pointed at my head, and I'm sitting in the backseat of a car, and all they want is a $120 bag of weed. $120 bag of weed. Can I say that one more time? 120. What can you buy with $120? Well, at that time, you could buy my life, because that's how worthless I thought I was. See, when they began to demand that $120 bag of weed, guess what I told them? No. I told them no 3 times with a gun pointed to the side of my head. Not just pointed, pressed up against the side of my head. At the age of 20, I felt so worthless. I felt so worthless that I was willing to get my head blown off in an alleyway. My grandmama wouldn't have known. My girlfriend, or whoever I was with, wouldn't have known. My family, my relatives, my aunts, my uncles, my sisters, my brother. No, I mean, I would have been dead, right? Laying in the back seat of a car, bleeding, dying for some grass, for some plants. See, that's what 20 years in the hood got me. Now, long story short, he pulled the trigger. I believe it was by the power and the grace of God, for whatever reason. It'll be a mystery until Jesus calls me home. But I believe that in the hood, you ain't gonna pull no trigger without no bullet being in it. Because why would you even let me know that your gun is empty? We all carrying guns. I didn't have mine on me that day, that moment, but like we all strapped in the hood. So if you was just gonna fake it, right? If it was just not loaded, then the smart thing to do would have just been, ask me for it, I don't give it to you, and you just run off somewhere. But why would he pull the trigger if there was nothing in it? What sense would that make? What, to just show me that you, right? It makes no sense. So I believe that there were bullets in that gun, and he meant to blow my head off, and I was ready to die for $120 bag of weed. I don't know if you feel me, man. My life was that low. I thought that little of myself, right? Because I always draw back to that story. I always look at that story and say, it's not so much that he was willing to kill me for so little, but I was willing to die for so little. That to me was the most impactful part of that story. That at the age of 20, I'm sitting in the backseat of a car with a gun put to my head, and I'm willing to die for $120 bag of weed. Never mind he's willing to kill me. Never mind he's willing to blow my head off. Never mind what he's doing and what he's thinking. What about me? Because I had a choice. I had a choice to give him what I had. I had a choice. but I chose to be in a position to die. My perspective of me, the way I saw me, is what mattered in that moment. And I saw myself being so worth less that I was willing to die. Now that was my life from age 1 through 20. That environment, the the abuse that I grew up with, the being molested, the being bullied, the being abused. You feel me? That environment, seeing my mother beaten and abused, seeing the drug use and the alcohol, seeing the violence, right? I was exposed to that crap for 20 years. And what it led to was me thinking that I was worthless. Well, I switched environments, man. I went to jail. I found Jesus. Jesus found me, however you want to name it and frame it. But I gave my life to God in jail. And I came out and I joined the church. I'm giving you the short version of it. And I went into the church. I began to find identity. I began to see new things. I began to be exposed to new things. I began to be exposed to new people. I began to be exposed to new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of thinking, new ways of living, new ways of speaking about myself, about others, about God. You see, environments is what you got to change. I don't know who I'm talking to. That's the preacher in me. I don't know who I'm talking to, but you do. You do. And you got to take inventory of your environment, guys. You got to take inventory of your environments. Okay, next slide. Here we go. Got to ask you this question. Does your current environment support what you envision? There is a change in your life that you desire. I don't know what that change is. Perhaps it's a change in your marriage, finances, relationships, your working environment, your physical health and well-being, your personal inner peace. What is it for you? What do you envision? What is it that you really want in your life? What type of change do you really want to experience? What type of change are you praying for? What type of change are you begging God for? What type of change? What newness in your life do you desire? And you have to ask yourself, does my environment, the objects, the conditions, circumstances, elements, are these things conducive in alignment with my envisioning? Does it? Does your environment support your envisioning? What is envisioning? Right? It's just a big word for being able to see yourself somewhere else. Right? I love using big words because I'm just a word freak. I just love words. I'm just a word freak. I just look them up. I love looking up definitions. I don't know. I'm just a word freak. I kind of nerd out on just words. I just love looking at words. I spend hours each day in the dictionary, just learning words and what they mean and how you can use them. So I don't know, but all envisioning is your ability to see yourself in a different place. Right? You can envision yourself owning a business. You can envision yourself married. You can envision yourself in a healthy relationship. You can envision yourself with a better physical, body and being healthy and having the energy that you want. Right? You can envision whatever it is that you're envisioning. I'm speaking to someone today. Does your environment support what you envision? And if it doesn't, then that's where you want to begin. That's where you want to begin. God's giving you free will. He's giving you the power and the authority to choose to change your environment. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that it's overnight. But I am saying be aware, be conscious to what's influencing your current perspective, which is going to dictate your current speech, the words you're using, the words and phrases that you use to describe yourself and your life. Oh yeah, it's controlling that. It's controlling, your thoughts, right? The struggles within your mind, the battle that's going on within your mind. All of that is linked back to your environment and what you're actually doing, the actions that you take on a daily basis, whether they're good or bad, whether they're helping you or they're punishing you, right? Whether they're moving you forward or they're keeping you stuck. Whatever your actions are, it's all stemming from your environment, and you have to make the decision, right? When I was sitting in the back seat of that car, I made a decision: kill me, because I'm worthless. Whatever, kill me. And only by the grace of God that they didn't kill me. But if it was up to me, I'd be dead already. I'm 44 years old. I'd have died at 20. I would have lost the last 24 years of my life. And these last 24 years have been amazing. Yes, I've struggled. Yes, I've shared many tears. I've had many dark moments. But oh my God, as they say, my good days outweigh my bad. Oh, I wouldn't trade it. My good days heavily outnumber. It's a landslide. God wins by a landslide, right? You got the God, you got devil. God wins by a landslide. I promise you. But everything began with a change in my environment. Heck, even getting saved, guys. Heck, I mean, even getting saved started in the jail. I had to go to jail. That's crazy, right? When something, quote, bad leads to something so good. But I still had to change environment, because I probably wasn't gonna come to God just in the streets. I hadn't learned enough lessons. I hadn't bumped my head, whatever. Environments, guys. Environments. All right. I think I'm down to my last slide, and start wrapping this up. I think message has been delivered, guys. I think my message has been delivered this morning. If you are watching on the screen, my last couple of things that I always want to share with you guys. Number one, free masterclass over at iAMthepossible.com. If you've not gotten your free self-worth, self-discovery masterclass, head over to iAMthepossible.com and pick up that free masterclass. More freebies on the way, more courses, more classes, more content on the way. But let's get you started with the basics. Let's get you started with the basics, I should say. Learning your value, learning your worth, learning that you have a purpose. You have value in this world. This world needs you, okay? And so, listen, that's going to build you up. You watch this masterclass, you take the notes, it's going to build you up. It's going to show some things. It's going to explain some things, expose some things about you that you never knew, and I promise you're going to love them. It's full of assessments. It's full of, just all types of stories and references and tools that you can utilize to do the deep dive on yourself and discover those hidden jewels. So many people are afraid to go deep because they think they're going to find bad things. I'm here to tell you, you're going to find good things, okay? So head over to iAMthepossible.com and get your free masterclass. Secondly, if you guys have prayer requests, okay, I want to serve you. I have a prayer list that I'm building. I want to cover you in prayer. You don't have to tell me all your business. You ain't got to share the tea. You ain't got to give me all the nitty-gritty, grimy details of whatever you're dealing with. But you can just say, Travell, pray for me in my finances. Pray for me in my marriage. Pray for me in my whatever, okay? But I want to know, if you want prayer, if you want me to cover you in prayer, send your prayer request or question, okay? I gotta update my slide. Prayers or questions. If you have questions about this podcast, about something I shared, and you lack clarity. Hey, when you said that, what did you mean? Or hey, when you said do this, how do I go about that? Guys, let me know your questions. Or hey, why don't you teach on this? Why don't you share on this? Give me some feedback. Give me some review. Give me some insight into what it is that you're looking for in this podcast. What ideas, what topics would you like me to share on? Obviously, we're going to always tie it back to perspective. We're going to always tie it back to your value and worth, but we can cover a multitude of topics and always bring it back to your position in that situation being one of value, worth, significance, and some quick lesson on how you can see it a little differently. Okay, but let me know. Prayer requests and questions, info at iamthepossible.com. Info at iamthepossible.com. And lastly, support, guys. I would greatly appreciate your support. So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify podcast. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Tell somebody about it and leave me a review. Leave me a review on Apple. Comments. Share, good, bad, the ugly, indifferent, doesn't matter. But I just want to hear from you, right? I want to be able to gauge the needle, know if I'm tapping on something, if I'm hitting on something. Just let me know, because I want to continue to increase in my capacity to love you and to serve you. All right, guys, that is it. That is it. We got through it. Even though I was, held up a little bit, we got through this thing. I'm committed and devoted to you. So let's continue to rock. Let's continue to roll. I pray you guys have an amazing week. Again, share. Share this out. Let somebody know about this podcast. We want to increase our listenership. We want more people to be encouraged and for them to know how loved and appreciated they are. All right? Do me that favor. Cool. That's it, guys. So until next time, this is Travell C.W. Lynch, Mr. What your self-worth specialist. And this is the I Am the Possible podcast experience, the place where possibilities become perspective. Until next time, I'm loving you guys, praying for you guys, and believing in you guys. Peace.